This is Factory Fridays from boats.com, the show where we visit builders across America to get a first-hand look at their boat building techniques, materials, and stories.
Buongiorno. I'm Marilyn DeMartini with boats.com, and we're bringing you Factory Fridays today from Rome, Italy. We're here at the Canados Yachts factory, which began in 1946. The company started as a workboat factory, but the carpentry was impressive, and a family of the Royal Emirates saw the boats and asked for one to be built, and from there on, it's history. 800 some boats later, we're here at Canados to visit how the line has evolved and talk with the owner, Michel Karsenti, about how the boats are made. Please come join us as we tour the Canados Yacht Factory.
Hey, Marilyn.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, a long time since Florida in the good old days.
Right, magazine days and racing.
I'm not missing the magazine so much, but the racing, yes, that's why I'm going back.
All right, well, we'll talk more about that. Tell us about how you got here to Canados.
Well, the first thing is passion. You know this business, you don't do this business for the money, you do this business because you love it. It happened that back in early 2000s, I was building a lot of big boats for Eastern Europe countries, and from time to time I was asked to build a smaller boat like 80 feet, 90 feet, 100 feet, and these clients are really into the customization, so I was looking for a shipyard that could do smaller boats but highly customized, and Canados was the ideal scenario because it's the only shipyard in Italy that has everything in-house, including the interiors, while all the other shipyards are subcontracting the interiors, so they're very limited to what they can customize and do to clients' ideas.
So you came into a company that was known for larger yachts. You have the Canados luxury yachts and you have the Oceanic Explorer yachts. And then you brought your vision with your racing background and your view of the new market to create the Gladiator line.
The Gladiator line is part linked to my passion for speed and high performance boats, but it's also mainly a strategy. If you look at the market change in the last 20 years, independent yacht builders are going away one after the other. Now it's all owned by investment groups. All the big groups are backed by huge money. And we realized it's very difficult to fight with them. People are very sensitive to strong marketing, big advertising money, and we don't have this kind of power. So we decided to deviate a bit from that and go to a segment of the market where we see potential growth and where we can bring things that they cannot bring. The experience of speed, the reliability that we bring due to racing, because when you run a boat at 130 miles an hour, you know what might break, you know the stress you're putting on the boat, and all this to a lower level, we translate to our production boats. And we wanted to do these fast boats because we see more and more people fed up with the big boats and the crew and the cost and the issue with all the regulation that now we have on all the big boats. And we decided to go for Gladiator. Being a Roman shipyard, we thought the Gladiator name was really good.
Well, it shows the strength, the power, the fight in your boats, and we see that in the performance of them, because you're doing both inboard and outboard engines depending on the market.
True. We started with the inboard diesel because that's the European market, and since we established a very strong dealership in Florida, we had this demand for big outboards. We did a few outboards in the past, but it was not significant. Now it probably accounts for 25% of our production, and we see it growing.
Well, when we look at the difference in maintenance, in fuel prices, and like you said, being able to be an owner-operator of a smaller boat rather than have a crew, it really makes a difference in how you can enjoy your boat.
That's exactly the point. When you have a captain running your boat, you sit on the back and you have a drink. If you're running 25 miles an hour or 45 miles an hour, it doesn't make much difference. But when you run the boat yourself with your friends, you want to have fun. So when we come up with the new 57 that will be capable of 70 miles an hour with the big engines, or with a 49 with 600 that will do 55 cruising and 70 top, I mean, it makes a difference for an owner-operated boat.
Right. Well, because we've seen the breadth of what you manufacture here, let's go out in the factory and see how they're built.
Sure, let's take a look.
All right, let's go.
So Marilyn, this is our technical and design office. This is the 96 Gladiator I was telling you about. We're gonna go on the boat later. This is being built now, will be delivered April next year for the coming season. This is a 29-meter boat, so 96 feet, with triple 2,000 man that will top 52 knots, which is extremely fast for a boat that size, with 4 suites, big saloon, tender, jet ski, small flying bridge. That's gonna be the flagship of the Gladiator line for now.
But this is also the extreme end. Now you're also going to, you have the 91, the 63, go through your range a little bit so we understand
the Gladiator line basically start at 41, and that's like a show boat we did that with 2 450s is running 95 miles an hour, which has never been done with a monohull. This is the technology of racing, carbon fiber and so on, but that was a project we did really to show that today you can run fast without burning tons of fuel. All we work for every boat we do is the only efficiency of the hull. Now the big market for us with the Gladiator line is the 43, 49. We're doing a new 57 for next year that will go from 45 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour depending on the power. We have a 63, a 90 and the 96.
And you do some things that are very different in your boats, in your propulsion systems as well, correct?
For some clients who want to go fast, we use the Jolly Drive Special, which is a surface drive, but most surface drives are steerable and you have all the hydraulic in the water. The system we use, and I think we're maybe 2 shipyards using it, is a system where all the hydraulic is in the hull. The rims for the trim tabs and for the transmissions, you just see the rams outside. All the hydraulic is inside the hull. So you can leave your boat in the water. You will have no attack from corrosion. Usually what breaks with a typical surface drive or outdrive is all the hoses that are in the water with the connectors. It's kind of fragile. Here, you don't have the issue.
So this is a very practical side of design, and here you also address all the design issues that a client would like from the interiors and finishes as well, correct?
Here we call it the technical office, but because every boat we do, even the 49, we do 12 or 13 boats a year like this, of this model. Clients come here, they choose everything. The interiors, the wood, we have unlimited choice, the leather, the painting. This specific boat was designed, the cockpit was designed for the US market. Instead of having the sand pad aft, which is very popular in Europe, for the US, the idea was to create a social area where people can have a drink while the guy is running the boat. His friends are on the back, they have a bar with ice maker, with everything.
And you have the sun pad on the front where people
we
can
still have the
relax
sun pad
and
on
do
the
that.
front, but you can sit 7 or 8 people on the back and still run your boat in the intracoastal at 40 miles an hour.
And huge storage capability is beneath.
Especially with the outboards, because all this opens up and you have a huge storage underneath, so you can put all the toys, sea bobs, and now that's going to be a fun boat for the US.
Well, let's go see where some of the interior things are
Let's
built.
go.
So this is really where the heritage of Canados came from, right? From the cabinetry and the woodworking?
This is exactly about heritage, and that's what makes Canados so different from the other shipyards in Italy. Here we took a different direction because this started in 1946. We have some third generation guys working here, and we wanted to keep this heritage and keep on offering clients, even on small boats, this possibility to customize everything. When you subcontract, once you order from your subcontractor, you cannot make any changes. Here, even 2 months before delivery, we can change the furniture, change the design, and redo everything.
And we see that here from the renderings, they can see exactly what to build for each different boat.
Exactly, because each boat is made different for the interiors, with different wood, different layout. Once it's approved by the client with the technical office and the design office, it comes here and they start ordering the wood, the different essence, and manufacturing. So they have all the details, the technical details, the elevations, the sections, everything, and they understand, they have all the details of what goes on the floor, what goes on the ceiling, what kind of wood, and they have everything. And you see that's the hull numbers, 23, 24, and you have all the different designs so they can program production. This is a boat we're doing for the US, and all what you see here, gray, is carbon fiber, high gloss carbon fiber. It's gonna be spectacular.
The detail on this cabinetry is amazing. So we have all different finishes from which to pick.
These are going to our dealers in their showroom. So for the small Gladiator line, they have like 5 displays like this that shows all the possible configuration with leather, with different wood patterns, gloss or satin, some of the teak color furniture, color choice, some of the painting for the exterior, either solid or metallic. So client can choose anything. Even in the layout, we can customize. This is something I want to show you actually. There's nothing that looks more like an exterior table than an exterior table. But when you look at the work here, all the frame is cold molded, it's laminated wood, cold molded. This frame takes weeks to do. It's cold pressed, cold glued.
And each of these layers is pressed together
Glued and
to
pressed
create
together.
that. And no seams.
Exactly, you see just here one seam, that's
Right.
it. So instead of having these corners at each corner of the table, you just see a continuous line of wood all around. And that makes a big difference.
Beautiful grain.
We do this for the exterior, this was for an interior. From the top, it looks like wood, but if you look at it, it's all glued piece after piece.
Right. So you also do all your own metalwork in-house.
We do all the stainless steel. We'll do all the stainless steel. In the future, we have a plan. We already started doing some superstructures in aluminum. So we're learning this new process for aluminum because on fast boat you cannot use steel. But we have all the handrails. A lot of the hardware that we put on deck is made in-house. I'm going to show you the
Okay,
the
that's
metal
next.
shop.
Let's go. So this is really old world metalworking.
This is not very glamour. It's the part of the shipyard where we really get dirty and black because all they do is welding stainless steel, polishing stainless steel. This, for instance, is a very specific handrail that goes on the 143 Oceanic. And again, this is something we could subcontract outside, but we would lose time. We're in a region where there's not that many shipbuilders, so it's very difficult to find good subcontractors. So at least 70% of our stainless steel production we do in-house, especially the complicated part that needs to go on the boat 10 times for adjustments. We don't have to ship them on a truck. It comes, the guys are doing it here. You see here, that's another handrail. What you see here are tubes. When they weld, they flow water inside, so there's no distortion with the heat of the welding. And it's done today like it was done 30 years ago. Nothing has changed.
But keeping it in-house gives you control and the ability to really keep the customized parts.
It gives us control on the quality, but there are some very good subcontractors that could do the same quality. The point is, again, in terms of timing and customization, when you have the boat in the shed 200 yards from here and you have the shop here, the guys can go on the boat 20 times a day just to adjust to the millimeter.
When you have a subcontractor that does it 200 miles from here, he comes, it doesn't work, we're gonna lose days before he comes back.
And we'll see samples of that on the 140 that's
Sure,
being
we
completed,
already have
right?
a lot on the 140.
Shall we go there next?
We can go now.
There's a lot of parts that go into building a boat, aren't there?
Well, and this gets emptied almost every 3 days, so we have trucks that come every day to refurbish and bring the material.
And you also fabricate parts here as well.
We do, but for instance, this is a very specific part of the boat that is made outside for us. As I was telling you earlier today, every boat we do, every new model, we go for tank testing sessions. With the tank testing, we have a scaled down model of the hull. And we do this tank testing. Out of the tank testing, it usually lasts 3-4 days, depending on how many mistakes we did at the initial design and we need to correct on the model. But when we're done, basically we have an analysis that tells us with given weight of the boat, what the number of horsepower we need for each given speed, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on. We know exactly how many kilowatts for a given weight. So usually, now we're designing the 571, the 57 Gladiator. Empty weight should be 17.5 tons, full load 20.5 tons. So we need to be very, very attentive to weight. And this is the best example. This is pop-up cleats we use on the boats. This is a stainless steel one. This is a forged carbon with titanium base.
My goodness.
You see the difference?
Big difference.
So
And
it
the
looks...
look of this is also very Canados looking. With this is anodized carbon fiber?
No, this is forged
Forged.
carbon fiber. I think that's the new trend. It's extremely resistant. This is the cleats, the size of the cleats we use on the 43 and 49. We have 6 cleats on the boat. It looks like nothing, but we spare about 14 kilos here. The generators, if we take a regular 8 or 9 kilowatt generator, it usually weighs in the region of 350 kilos. We use variable speed generators made in Italy with Kubota engine, like Kohler use Kubota. Most of the generators use Kubota or Toyota, but it's variable speed. It means that a 9 kilowatt we fit in the boat weighs 145 kilos. We spare 200 kilos just on the generator, except for the structure of the boat that will take all the impact and the stress of the sea. All the rest, we try to spare a kilo there, 5 kilos there, 25 kilos there. And at the end, our 49 weights in the region of 11.5 tons, which allows us to have a very strong hull, but still a fast boat with a traditional hull.
But this is a very, very glamorous looking piece. I mean, this is very Lamborghini type, correct?
Exactly, it's high tech. That's what people like. Come on, a boat is an expensive toy. If you spend so much money, you want every detail to be perfect.
Let's go see one of those that's on its way to getting closer to finish.
Sure, let's go.
Right. So as we make our way through the 96, we're here in
This is the boat you've seen in the technical office.
the drawings, right?
Exactly. Now we're here in this section on the lower deck in the master suite. All this is the master suite.
Okay.
Remember, this is a 15 knot boat. So that's why you see structural floor, vacuum bagged. We try to gain weight everywhere. Inside the wood, we have cork for a reason of weight and a reason of sound insulation and vibrations.
So we have the construction done here, and you also do the paint here
Yes.
when you get to that stage.
We have two types of fencing. We have the painting of the boat. So we do the body work. Once the body work is finished, we cover the boat with a shed. Inside the shade, we paint it. All the components, hardtop, galley furniture, sofas, we have our own painting booth here, like a car body shop. We paint everything in the cabins, and we mount it on the boats.
Where should we go next?
We can take a look at the Gladiator lines.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So here it's coming into shape.
Yeah, this is a boat that's going to be delivered in about 3 weeks. That's actually going to France with triple outboards, which
Wow.
is amazing. But here it's our dealer in Cannes who has clients, again, that want to run the boat themselves and they want the speed. This is a boat that cruises all day at 50 miles an hour.
I see the carbon fiber hatches, beautifully done and finished inside.
Absolutely.
Carbon fiber helm.
The weight consideration is very important. All the galley furniture, all the cockpit furniture, hardtop roll bar are all carbon fiber. Painted, you don't see it, but we spare 400 or 500 kilos. 400 or 500 kilos, it's 2 miles an hour. So we're trying to spare weight everywhere we can, except on the structure of the boat, because you cannot tell a client, don't run your boat fast if you have 3 or 4 footers. So we have to still build strong boats. So we spare the weight where it's not critical for the structure.
And will this have a T-top or no?
Oh yes, it will have a big hard top.
And the cabin below?
And the cabin, this is a 2-cabin boat with a bathroom, and it's gonna be finished like all of our boats, and you see it's all made by hand and leather. And here they're preparing to lay down the teak on the deck.
3 weeks away from delivery.
3 weeks. So this is the Oceanic 143. As of today, this is our flagship, even if we have a 152 in the process, but so far, that's our biggest boat. Here, it's no limit, no limit. Client doesn't want to see the fiberglass. Outside, we do teak ceilings. Inside,
The recessed lights are so different than any others that we see.
well, we were looking for something elegant that doesn't reflect too much light. Here we're gonna have a big dining table. When you have dinner, you don't want to have this light flashing you. So,
Beautiful finishes.
but this is where it's really a lot of details. I mean, this is 2 years construction time, about 80 people working full time, all different wood, carved wood floor, embossed leather, custom made by a small artisan in Naples. You see this piece of furniture, you have 2 different woods, leather, embossed leather, bronze structure. You have the big screen TV in the middle, dining room. All the, what we call the loose furniture, we buy from famous furniture maker. Here it's Minotti, we buy from a lot of them. And they usually like to display their product in nice yachts because it's good advertising for them.
Beautiful lighting fixtures and ceiling detail, recessed lighting in the ceilings.
Well, the one thing is in Italy you have unlimited access to designers' furniture. It's fairly easy to find something different.
Now, down in the guest staterooms, we saw some very fine finishes there.
This is a five cabin boat, 4 cabins on the lower deck, 2 guests and 2 VIPs, and the same detail and attention to detail you will find in the saloon. In the upper deck master, the entire upper deck is for the owner. It's private. On the lower deck below, you will see carved wood floor with a silver leaf on top of it. This is the thing you find only in Italy. This is, you find nowhere else. All these kind of lights, LED lights that are dimmable, you don't find anywhere. And you see the light on the ceiling that goes down along the walls. It's all aligned, it's very different.
And the granite work that you do is some gorgeous, of course Italy is famous for its marble and granite.
Italy is famous for marble, although I'm not sure this one is Italian. But the thing is, you see marble, you don't see what's beneath it. I mean, it's leather cut, about 6mm marble that is glued on honeycomb structure because the marble would crack, and if you do a slab, the weight would be crazy. And this is, remember, this is going to be a 25 knot boat, 24, 25 knots, which is enormous for an expedition.
Let's go see the master suite.
Let's do. So here we're in the master cabin. The very different thing with that boat and with the design of that boat is that this entire upper deck is devoted to the owner. So he has his night zone here, he has his walk-in wardrobe, his bathroom, his corridor with vanity for his wife. And here he has his private terrace that will have sand pads, wet bar, small breakfast table. So really, the owner on that boat can spend his whole day here without seeing anyone.
Total escape.
Exactly. From the outside, he has access to the sand deck. And the beautiful thing is, because the engines are far aft, he can sleep, take a nap at 20 knots. He will not hear anything. No mechanical noise, no generator, no AC groups. He will not hear anything.
Just the peace of the sea, huh? So all of this finery here, tell us about the engine room.
Well, what you see here is the luxury aspect, the noble aspect. The engine room in that boat is the heart of the boat, because remember, 99.9% of the expedition boats are 13, 14, 15 knot boats. This one is capable of 24 knots.
We must see that.
So at 8 knots, you have 6,000 nautical miles range, which means you can go across the Atlantic and come back. But if you run it at 24, it's a different story. Let's go see. So unfortunately here, when you're 10 days away from completion, the engine room is always a mess. All the details, the touches up, the last equipment that came in late, because it's part of the deal nowadays. Everything is delivered late from the suppliers. It's terrible. But here, very unusual. I think that's the first time in the world that you see triple 2400s in an expedition boat. The goal here was to have a boat that can have 6,000 nautical miles range at 8 knots, but capable of cruising at 2021 if the owner is on board and wants to go from one island to the other without taking the whole day. So that's the specific of these boats. And these are actually new engines from Caterpillar. These are the first set delivered in Europe. When they saw the project, initially it was to be built with 3 1900 Caterpillar, and we were offered by Caterpillar, the headquarters, to be the test bank in Europe for the 2400s. And the boat went from 20 knots to 21 knots to 24 with these engines.
And so this is a tri-turbine
Tri-turbo, yes. The previous engine, this is an evolution of the 1900s twin turbo, and they had died in the pipeline for years. And when they announced it, we just ordered the 1900s. And even before we called them, when Caterpillar in the US received the project, they said, why don't we offer them the 2400s? And the owner was happy to go for it.
Well, these are certainly wild cats, and we can't wait to see this when it's all completed.
Oh, it's gonna be running its first sea trial at the end of the week.
Well, all I can say is congratulations, Michel, because this is the culmination of over 2 years' work coming together.
Well, 2 years is just the construction time. It's years of engineering and work behind the scene.
Well, we're gonna carry on so your team can get this boat finished.
Let's go.
But thank you so much for taking the
My
time to
pleasure.
show us all of this. Well, here from this spacious aft deck, we can see everything from the molds that you started the boats with to all of the different departments that you've built. Everything from the biggest flagship here of the Oceanic line at 143 to the smallest of the Gladiator line at 41.
Well, in a quick time, you've been able to see a little bit of everything. You see how flexible the shipyard is. Now, unfortunately, to see the boat at this stage, it's like 2 weeks from completion, and it looks like a mess because you have the electricians, you have the guy who does the tile, you have the stainless steel guys, you have the TIG guys, the interior guys. So it's like the last rush before being ready.
Well, even after this one is completed, we've got to look forward to the 57 that will be coming up. That's your newest model, correct? And that'll be available next spring or so?
Well, we're going to launch 3 new models next year in the Gladiator line. We're going to launch the 571, 57, the 901, 90 foot, and the 96 that you've seen this morning under construction. As well, next season we'll have the Oceanic 100 Shadow, for either a guy who wants to have lots of toys on the deck.
Well, you can certainly offer everything here at Canados for luxury and performance offered together under one shipyard. So thank you for giving us this wonderful tour,
It was my
Michel.
pleasure. Thank
It's
you
been
for
wonderful to visit.
flying from the US to see us.
And thank you for joining us on boats.com for Factory Fridays. Ciao from Canados Yacht Factory in Rome.
This is Factory Fridays from boats.com. Follow boats.com on YouTube and Instagram to stay tuned for the next episode. Visit boats.com for more videos and boat-related content. Boats.com. Everything boats.